Hey everybody, I'm Josh with Keep Your Swing Up. I'm not going to talk about fitness today. I'm going to talk about an experience I had this summer, kind of a debacle with the airline lost my golf clubs. Yes, nightmare. So I got fortunate enough to be able to fly out from Illinois out to Pebble Beach to watch the U.S. Open. It was fun. Played some golf, of course, with my buddy. My business partner flew me out. And on the way back, flew Spirit Airlines. I'd never flown Spirit before. Yes, it's cheap, but there were some downsides. I got in at 11:15 p.m. on a Tuesday and to Chicago, and they had my clubs did not show up. I was waiting around. My baggage, my suitcase showed up, but my golf clubs did not show up at all. Nobody stole them. No other patron at the airline stole them or anything like that. There's a little alcove in the corner where I was watching, and where all the oversized luggage comes, and nothing ever showed up at all. So I know it wasn't somebody who took off with them. So I'm here to tell you about what I did, and hopefully it helps you. Hopefully you're probably watching this, meaning it happened to you. I was looking around online for advice of what to do and how to handle it. What was the best way to make sure I did not get screwed over by the airline, which I felt like was their intention at every turn to make sure that they get out of it with as little as possible. So at first I had high hopes. So the number one thing to do is lose the clubs, immediately go and report it. Fortunately, the office was still open in the airport. There was a guy in there. It was kind of hilarious. He was drunk, and because he had had a layover, and then went to the bar for a few drinks, and then missed his connecting flight to something else, or did switch or something like that. But he had had a bunch of drinks in the meantime, and they mailed his luggage, so he was just like stranded in his in-between city, and he seemed like really happy, but that was mostly the booze talking. Anyway, that guy was nice, and then the lady was very helpful. She said, oh yeah, we'll just fill out a report. So number one, fill out a report immediately while you're at the airport. Do not leave until you fill out a report with their office. If that is not possible for some reason, then do it absolutely within 24 hours the next day. I did look up their customer property claim form online. All that stuff is there. I read it many, many times. It's kind of confusing. It's kind of designed to make it really hard. You have to do a lot of specific work to make things happen. You have to be patient. You have to be impeccable with paperwork, which I hate. I hate paperwork. And you have to be diligent and just keep on it. Spirit Airlines also has a policy of not speaking to people. So other than the personal interaction with this woman that was at the office, and then I talked on the phone once or twice later that week with, they told me how it would go. Found it very difficult. It was only email communication, and could not get, I don't know if they blocked my number or what, but I would call in, hit the extension for luggage loss claim. It'd ring 3 times, and then they would hang up on me without anybody answering. This would happen 4 times in a row. So other airlines might be better. This is my experience with Spirit. In the end, it kind of worked out. So here's my advice. Number one, immediately fill out a report. That is key. Then they had 5 days to find my clubs, and they said they always find them because they know it's so expensive to replace them. That's what the woman told me at the office when I reported them lost. And it's like, okay, so I'm pretty sure they'll just mail it to me at my house. That'll be fine. So I'll get my clubs back. That did not happen. And throughout the week, I went through different emotions of I had just, gotten a brand new putter. I had gotten a new case. I had gotten all this stuff that I liked a lot, and I worked real hard to get used to. And then now I'm switching back to my old clubs, which are far inferior. And then I read something in the thing saying, well, if they don't find it, then they have to buy me new clubs, and you just send in the receipts and they reimburse me, is what I thought I read. Misread it many times, misunderstood it. That is not what they do. What you have to do is send in your receipts for the original purchase of the clubs, and every item in there over $50. That was way worse, and that was really bad news when I heard that. Because who's got all their receipts from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? How old are your clubs? Do you have all of your receipts? So that's tip number 2. When you buy, just keep a file folder in your desk somewhere, and put all your receipts for all your golf clubs and all that stuff in there. Brand new set of Titleist golf balls, your golf shoes, a golf hat, your most expensive golf hat, whatever. I had a poster from the U.S. Open that I had purchased, and it was in my hard shell case, and that disappeared. All these things I had receipts for, some of the newer items, the case I had just bought months prior, the putter I just bought a few months prior, some of the souvenirs and stuff that was in there. I did have brand new shoes that were in there. My buddy had bought me brand new shoes, and luckily I had the receipts for that stuff. So keep all your receipts. It's too late if you already didn't do that and you found this video. So scramble through, find as many receipts as you can. If you bought stuff online, the credit card, I did not use this myself, but I understand that credit card purchase proof can work on there. So I had a rangefinder that was a gift for Christmas, and I got an order form from that. That was a gift from my mother, so I worked with that. Anyway, the whole thing, a huge pain in the ass, which why I say it takes diligence. You got to keep at it. You got to keep filling out the paperwork. So the timeline being, they lose my clubs. 5 days goes by. They say, well, we have 5 days to find them. If you don't find them in 5 days, then file the claim form. So filing a claim, and I have 30 days to do that. I didn't get that done until the 30th day because I hate paperwork that much. And I kept putting it off, and they kept saying they're looking and all this stuff. So do it right away. That's my next bit of advice. Get it in right away. The sooner you get it in, the sooner all this is going to happen, as soon as you file the claim, because there are more delays that they have, and it's all written into their policy. Fill out the form as soon as you can. Get it complete. Get it sent in. Because then they have 30 days from the day that you fill out the form to keep looking for your clubs, and then they don't have to pay out the claim for another 30 days. So here's where it got interesting as well. So I fill out the form. They're looking, can't find them. Fill out the form. Very next day, hey, we found your clubs. So I get an email saying, hey, we found your black SKB case, which is the case I got also for Christmas. I'm like, okay, good, because I feel like they're going to screw me if they're trying to pay me out money, so it's better just to get my clubs back. They say, well, we'll have a courier bring it out to your house tomorrow. Okay, good. We'll let you know when they're on their way. Okay, good. They do not let me know. The courier shows up at 2 in the afternoon at my house. The courier doesn't know anything about this. It's just a person they hired to deliver my clubs. 2 in the afternoon, they did not let me know. I happened to be home at that time, fortunately. I was a personal trainer, have a little break in the middle of the day sometimes, so I happened to be at home. It happened to show up. It was a black SKB case. I had 2 tags with my name and address written on it, not in my handwriting. And I noticed that it was scuffed a lot more than my case, and the handles were silver instead of black. So I know, okay, this is not mine. It's kind of fishy. I open it up. The one was like, sign here. I go, hang on, I'm going to look at it. Look at the case, open it up. It's like a flea market $40 set of, 30-year-old golf clubs or whatever. They're worthless. And they're like, hey, we found your clubs. Here they are. So I figure what their plan is. This is my speculation. Is I'm not going to be home in the afternoon. Maybe my wife's home. Maybe she signs for it. And as soon as somebody signs for it, they say, screw you. You said these were yours. We're washing our hands of you. You're done. So fortunately, that did not work out. So watch out for that. At every turn, I felt like they're trying to just get away with as much as possible and not pay me out, my huge loss for my claim. So I did have the claim in there. I emailed them, say, oh, these are not my clubs. Oh, I'm so sorry. We thought they were. All right, well, we're going to keep looking, and we have 30 days from the time that you enter the claim to keep looking, and if we don't, then at the end of that, we have to pay you out. It's like, okay, so I'm going to keep waiting. So 30 more days comes by, and there were some items that I had receipts for, and there were a lot of items I did not have receipts for. Clubs were from 2014 or something like that. I don't have those receipts. So I thought it best, and it says right on there, if you do not have a receipt for it, you will not get paid anything for that club. So I thought, well, that can't be right, because they know there's a whole set in there. They'll give me something. And I was tempted to kind of like forge receipts, put something together, and decided that's not a good idea, because they say, we reserve the right to request that any of these forms be mailed to us. So if it got sketchy, besides which that would be fraud, I didn't want to do that, of course. But it was tempting, because I do feel like they're trying to screw me the whole time. So the week before, it's 1 week to go with I'm going to get my claim, right? I assume something. And I filed the claim. It was for $3,200 for everything that was in there. And that includes my clubs, my bag, the hard shell case, of course. But also think of everything else that's in there, that you spent money on. It adds up. Gloves, balls, shoes, hats. I had my memorabilia from the U.S. Open. If you have a sweater in there, a rain jacket. Think of all these things, little gadgets that, rangefinder or whatever. It really can add up in addition to very expensive golf clubs. So $3,200, they say they owe me. I figure they're going to try to lowball me. They did. Foreshadowing. And so one thing they was punctual. So every time there was a deadline, they were very specific about it. They're also specific, if you don't hit the deadline, you're screwed and you get absolutely nothing. So from number one, filing a report on immediately at the airport. Number two, filing the claim within the 30 days. And then, so they tell me, hey, we don't have receipts for these. You're not going to get anything for the stuff we don't have receipts, which was my driver, my 3-wood, my hybrid, all my irons, like really big ticket items. I did have it for the putter. I did not have it for my wedges, which I bought last year at a charity golf outing. Got a good deal on them, but I paid cash, so I didn't have a receipt for that. And they say, well, remember, we're not going to pay you out for anything, which I felt was a last-ditch effort to tempt me to forge some receipts, say, oh, hey, I found them, send them in, and then they bust me and say, not only we're not paying you anything, but now you've committed fraud, we're prosecuting you, or something like that. Blacklisted from Spirit Airlines. Something like that. Looking at all my notes here, my emails. So, the day comes. Monday, it's now been 90 days. 90 days? Nope. It's now been 60 days since they lost my clubs. Meanwhile, the entire summer is going by, and I don't have my clubs. Emotional trauma. And so, that Monday they sent me an email. Here it is right here. Hi Josh, I have exhausted all my tracing efforts and unfortunately was unable to locate your lost bag, nor did I receive any information as to what may have happened to it. I think I know. I think it was somebody's last day in the baggage claim department in Vegas where the layover was. And they thought, I'm going to steal somebody's clubs. I'm truly sorry. That helps. I have, however, processed your claim and you will receive a check for $817.32, which will be issued in the next 20 business days by September 16th. Once issued, it will be mailed to your house, blah, blah, blah. Also, I've gone ahead and processed a lost bag fee refund at $42. Hey, thanks for not charging me $42 for delivering my bag when you didn't even deliver my bag. By the way, put that on the claim. Make sure they pay you back for the delivery fee. Spirit, nickel, and dime me for all that stuff. Refunds are processed immediately. So, $817. That's what they offer me for all that stuff. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's not even as much as all the brand new, not a scratch on it with the putter and the case and the rangefinder. All those are less than 6 months old. But by now my fury and fire has died down on this thing. I'm hitting well with my old clubs. I think it's also part of the plan is there's a huge delay that you forget or you don't care as much or whatever. You move on, forget it, forget the hassle. Don't do that. Don't let them screw you. So they said $817. I sent back an email. It was very simple. I said, that is unacceptable. I demand to speak with your supervisor on the phone. It's ridiculous. You lost over $3,000 worth of my stuff, and you're not making me whole at all. Very simple, very simple. Just said, that is unacceptable. Let me talk to your supervisor. Later that day, I got a phone call, of all things. I did not answer it, unknown number. And the woman said, I'm supervisor. I'm going to review your case. It's been set up to me. We will be communicating via email. I tried to call back 4 times. They hang up on me every time. Can't talk to a person at all. And I do get an email the very next day, on that Tuesday, and that reads, I am sorry you missed my call earlier, Josh. I'm also sorry to hear about your mishandled bag. I apologize for any inconvenience this incident may have caused. Your dispute has been escalated to my attention for further review. After careful review of your claim, I've decided to compensate you an additional $1,169.33 for your claim. So all I had to say was, no, that's not good enough, and the next day, they more than double it. Your check will be issued within 20 business days from today, bringing the total to $1,986.65. So that is a different story. That's not bad for the used clubs and everything. This amount was reached based on unreasonable depreciation of items over a year old for prior use, determined by pre-established calculations. I have provided the direct link, blah, blah, blah. This is interesting. So I didn't have receipts for the driver, the 3-wood, the hybrid, or my irons, or the wedges I had bought the year before. And here's what she says. Please know that no compensation was issued for the 3 wedges, valued at $390 I put on my claim, because you did not provide the original proof of purchase. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't provide original proof of purchase of the other stuff. But the baggage charge was refunded, yes. So I feel like I could have fought for one more thing and once again said no and gone up the line and get maybe a little bit more, maybe $150 or something like that, who knows. But I decided to just take what they gave me at that point. You do what you think is right, but I didn't want to risk it. I had put in my head, if I get $1,600 for all this, it might be halfway, okay, made me whole. If I get $2,000 or $2,500, that would be really great and ideal. And so I got up to about my 2,000 number in my head, so I took it. So then I say, okay, send me my money. Oh, now it's 20 business days, which ended up being 30 full days. So you add that to the first 30, the second 30, and then that 30, entire 90 days from when they lost my stuff till when I get a check. I get a check from them at Wells Fargo. I drove to Wells Fargo to cash it, which was like 30 minutes away because I don't want to be messing with anything else. I got cash. I went straight over to the store where I got my clubs, where I had gotten fitted the week prior, and bought the clubs that I had ordered, which I have been talking about. So all told, it took 100 days exactly to have new clubs in hand from when they lost my old clubs. I have not replaced the driver or the 3-wood. My old hybrid is kind of working out better than the hybrid I had in that bag. And I'm back to my old putter, which I've used for 15 years after getting used to the new putter. Side note, additionally it reads, I would like to offer you a $50 future travel voucher. The voucher can be applied towards the base fare of a flight and not fees and taxes. The voucher expires in 60 days, so that's next week, October 19th. So if I want to fly Spirit, that will pay for me shipping my bag. Guess what? I'm not flying Spirit anymore, ever again. So they're getting away with their $50 voucher. To sum up, my tips are report immediately. You got to do that. Do not leave the airport. Report the lost bag and fill out the report so it's all official right there. Fill out the claim form as soon as possible. Do it in full detail. Provide any receipts that you have. If not receipts, then your credit card proof of purchase. Follow all the rules that they have. Do all the stuff that they say. You got to jump through all the hoops. You got to jump through all the hoops and do all the stuff they say. Follow all the rules. And then they'll lowball you, I assume, like they did me with that first offer, and say no. Say that is unacceptable. Let me talk to your supervisor. You got to figure it's their job to pay you out as little as possible. And then if you say no, it'll go up to the next one. And I was tempted to just be like, whatever, I don't care. I got something, $800, fine. That temptation was there, and I told some of my clients, and they were mad on my behalf and said, no, you got to, fight for more. I was like, okay, you're right. I'm glad I did. And in the end, I have a new set of irons and my 60-degree wedge. I still need to get the other stuff replaced, but it's going to be more of a slower process and do that next season. So I hope this helps. I was not able to find any advice online. All I found was horror stories that made me more worried of how airlines screw you over when this type of stuff happens. By the way, this was not specific to a golf bag being lost. This was any piece of luggage. So I don't know who has receipts for every shirt and pair of pants. That's nobody, pretty much. But I hope this helps, and good luck. All right, keep your swing up. I don't know. What. If you can't find your clubs, then you can't keep your swing up. New catchphrase.